Recap in minutes. Today we will be going through a 2010 war and action miniseries entitled, The Pacific. There will be spoilers ahead in this video, so chill out and enjoy. The first episode of the series starts in 1941 at St. Mary Church. A man named Bob Lackey comes out after praying there, and meets his neighbor Vera Keller. He asks her about him and she recognizes him. He tells her that he joined the military and is going to the front lines. He says to her that he will write letters to her from there. She goes into the church wishing him good luck. In the next scene, Sergeant Manuel Rodriguez, Sergeant John Basilone, and Sergeant J.P. Morgan were attending the briefing given by Lieutenant Colonel Levi's Puller. He addresses them about the maneuvering of the Japanese forces in the seas of the world. He shows them some pinpoints on the wall map. He tells them that on the 7th of December, the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor, while on the 8th of December, the Japanese also attacked Guam, the Malay Peninsula, Wake, Hong Kong, and the Philippines Islands. He tells them to get ready for the war in the Pacific Ocean. They will be going to some unknown and unheard places during this war. He encourages them that they will win this war. He believes that they will scrap the Japanese Empire, and come back home as heroes. He appreciates their preparation and leaves. Sergeant Basilone stares at the map and thinks about the war. At night, Bob Lackey comes to the bus station with his dad. His father actually came with him to drop him off to go to New York to join the army. They talk about the war for some time. After some moments, a man calls for the passengers to attend them to go to New York. He says goodbye to his father and leaves. In the next scene, a father was checking the heart of his son with a stethoscope. He tells his mom that the murmur is still there and it will take some time. The boy, Eugene, comes out of his house and takes the bicycle. He meets his friend Sidney Phillips in the woods. He tells about himself joining the Marines and going to Atlanta for recruitment. He asks Eugene to join the army too. After some time, it's August 7, 1942 and Bob Lackey along with other Marines reach Guadalcanal in the Solomon Islands. One of their Marines comes there and tells them to get ready to move. Because they were about to leave the shore and walk into the island in 3 minutes. Their mission was to hunt the Japanese. The next moment, they were walking in the forest of the island and looking for the Japanese. They inspect their abandoned vehicles, trenches, and hideouts. They pass through some dead bodies of the Marines, who were killed by the Japanese. They all hide in the trenches at night. Sergeant York and Bob watch the fight among the ships on the sea. They all worry about their men on the ships, while hoping the Japanese will be destroyed by their men. The next morning they find another hideout along the shore. They all share with each other and have fun for a while. At night, when they were hiding in their trenches, the Japanese attacked them suddenly. They fought relentlessly to eliminate the danger from across the stream. They kill most of the Japanese while some flee the ground. The next morning they walk past the dead bodies. They found an alive and injured Japanese soldier. When the doctor comes to check on him, he blows himself off with a grenade in his hand. Seeing this, some other hidden Japanese come out and fire on them. They eliminate them too. After that, they see some reinforcement coming from the homeland. Lieutenant Colonel Chesty Puller came with his men there. They all appreciate each other. Colonel Puller walks past them saying that he is going to Tokyo. The second episode of the series opens at the Henderson Fields in October 1942. Sergeant Basilone, Manuel, and J.P. Morgan were moving along with other men of the 7th Marines. They were searching for Japs to clear the forest. Meanwhile, their commander gets hit by the enemy's machine gun. They all retaliate but the Japs get hidden again. On the other side, Lackey was writing a letter to Vera. They were all hiding in the trench and eating loaves of bread from 1919 military rations. His friend Runner asks him to read the letter loud to them. He hesitates but he starts reading when he insists. He writes to her that they are surrounded by the 5,000 Japs, who were waiting to kill them. The scene shifts to Colonel Chesty Puller. He gives them the good news that the reinforcement has landed on Guadalcanal Island. He orders everyone to get ready before 1,600. The reinforcement comes with field rations, fresh foods, ammunition, and a lot of other things. The men from the 7th Marines rush to get something from the boxes. They steal whatever they can. Meanwhile, the commander sees them, and stops them from opening the boxes. Lackey also stole a pair of moccasins and cigars. He comes to Phillips, Runner, and Sergeant York. He gives them the peaches juice and shows them the cigars. There comes a funny scene. Lackey drinks a can of peaches after a long time, and his stomach does not digest it. He vomited there while Runner was sitting there to stool, and laughed at him. He changes his name to Mr. Peaches. At night, there was quiet out in the jungle. Lackey changes Runner's name to Old Faithful because was still sitting there on the stool. Suddenly, the Japanese attack them. They bomb everywhere around their hideouts and trenches. They hardly survive the attack. In the morning, when they come out of their hideouts, they see a lot of their dead men. Meanwhile, Lieutenant Colonel Chesty Levi's Puller gathers his men outside of his tent, and orders them to get ready to join the battalion of Henneken. They will go to the south of the island together. He tells them the plan to divert the Japanese by dispersing the units in the forest. He raises his concerns to save the battalion of Henneken in order to get themselves safe. If they fail, they will be left alone with thousands of Japs out there. He dismisses them while stopping Basilone and Rodriguez. He tells them to stay behind the units to get them to pass safely. In the next scene, Captain Andrew comes under the trench. He tells Lecky and others to get ready to move and prepare for the upcoming Japs attack. He alerts them that the Japanese have started to maneuver toward them. After telling this, he gives his cigarettes to the runner and leaves. At night, Captain Briggs calls Colonel Puller from the outpost. He informs him about the advancement of the Japanese army toward his battalion. He orders him to wait for them to pass and not fire on them. While after this call, the Japanese throw the crackers in the air. The Japs crawl in when they can see them in the light of the crackers. Sergeant J.P., Manuel, Basilone, and others open fires on the Japs when they approach them. They fight them with their limited ammunition. When the Japs get on their heads, their machine gun jams. Basilone repairs it and they take their ammo to J.P. They gather there because they were outnumbered by the Japs. On their way to changing the posts, they encounter Japs. They fight them and kill them. The battle was going to be very tough. One of their men, John, gets out of the trench to get to know the positions of the Japs machine gunners. The Japs open fire at him while he succeeds in his mission. The night continues to be lit up with the fires of bullets and bombs. In the morning, Basilone comes from the outpost to the 5th Marines. He sees the casualties there and goes to see the doctor. He gets upset at the medical settlement there. He asks the doctor there if he knows Sergeant Manuel Rodriguez. He tells him that he does not know he is coming to the facility. He goes to the forest to search for him. After some time he finds his dead body there on the ground. He takes the dead body back to the camp with JP and mourns there. On the other side, Captain Andrew gives the news of leaving the island. They get back to the ship. Lecky, Runner, York, and others sat at the table to have coffee. The cook tells them that they are famous in America because everyone is talking about the Guadalcanal and 1st Marines Division. He tells them that they are going to be heroes back home. The third episode of the series starts in Melbourne in January 1943. Bob Lecky and Sergeant York come to the shores of the city. The whole of the city gathers there to welcome them. There were women, children, and many young men to cheer them up for their victories in Guadalcanal. They see US flags everywhere on the roads. While the Marines remain silent and gloomy because they have seen the hell of the war. They lost their best buddies at the battleground. Their celebrations did not affect them. Soon they reach McGee, the Melbourne cricket ground. They were given beds in the enclosures to sleep or take rest. In the next scene, Basilone and JP were having drinks in a bar in Melbourne. One of the Australian officers taunts them for missing their friend Manuel Rodriguez. They get annoyed while at the same time, the Australian hits him. Basildon punches him back. The other Australian relaxes them and offers them another round of drinks as an apology. The scene shifts to Bob Lecky, who was on the bus and following an Australian girl named Stella. He fell on her feet when he found her. She gets surprised at his behavior of not being sober. He offers her to walk with him but she gives him her number to get her from her home. She tells him her name and leaves. Lecky's friends cheer him for being this bold. The next day, Lieutenant Colonel Chesty Puller calls Basilone over his fight with an Australian officer in the bar. He scolds him showing a letter from the higher authorities. He congratulates him too, for being selected to be awarded the Medal of Honor by President Roosevelt. Sometime later, all the companies of the 1st Battalion gather and halt in the stadium. U.S. Army General announces the name of Sergeant John Basilone for the award of Medal of Honor. For his bravery, conspicuous gallantry, and heroism in the battleground. After the ceremony, Bob Lecky goes to Stella's home. Her father and mother greet him. They stop him for dinner. Her mother talks about her migration from Greece. She tells him about her struggle to find a home and love in Australia. She asks him about his family in America. After the talks, they invite Lecky to stay a night at their home. The next day, Stella and her mother were roasting the lamb in the yard, her father reading the names of the people killed in the war. They all get sad when they hear about Alexei, one of their dear ones. They all go to his home to share their grief. In the next scene, Lecky was sitting on the train with the other Marines. He yells at another Marine chuckler when he shoots a cow. He scolds him for being ignorant of the poor farmer's dairy. He comes back straight to Stella's home when he comes back from the march. Stella does not let him in and says he can move on. He gets upset there and comes to a bar. He drinks and smokes there. When he comes to the stadium, Sergeant York asks him to stand at his post for a minute. He refuses him but agrees afterward. His captain Andrew comes there and sees him drunk on duty. He disobeys the captain. And there he sends him to a military prison that night. After some time, Barcelone was at the airport to go back home to the USA. JP congratulates him on his transfer. They remember the old war days and their friend Manuel. They see each other sentimentally. Barcelone leaves for home while JP along with the other Marines of the 1st Battalion leaves for another battleground. They all leave the coast of Melbourne, and receive the farewell like they received the welcome when they came there. The 4th episode of the series starts on the coast of Cape Gloucester, New Britain in December 1943. They step into the island, and settle the temporary tents there. A promoted Marine, Sergeant Stone comes to Lecky and asks him about his company. He tells him that he had been sent to battalion intelligence under Lieutenant Larkin. He orders them to patrol after setting the tents and leaves. The next moment, they all start patrolling the area of land to search Japs. After some time in the forest, Sergeant Stone asks Lecky to be their tail end troop. Lecky stops there and orders him to be at the end of them. When they were gone, he noticed some movements from the back. He hides behind the tree and waits for them to come in front. When they come, he kills them all. They were all the Japanese, who were patrolling the area too. After that, they cross the stream and settle up at the side of the forest. At night, the Japs come there in groups. A fierce battle was fought there between the 1st Battalion Marines and Japs. Stone again comes to Lecky and orders him to be at last in the line. He orders him to burn the intelligence tent when he finds Japs coming there. After this, he did not need to burn the tent because they neutralized all the Japs there. The next morning, they all go patrolling again. They reach the tents of the Japs. They found some dead and some alive Japanese soldiers there. They killed all the living ones. Phillips killed one with his hands. Bob Lecky found the chest of a Japanese officer with a pistol in it. He reserves that chest for himself. But when he had to go outside in the rain, his chest was lost. He goes to Lieutenant Larkin's tent and sees his chest there. He asks him to give his chest back but he makes up excuses. He wonders about the Jap's pistol and opens it. He finds nothing but the socks of the lieutenant there. He gets disappointed with the lieutenant and goes back. In the next scene, Lieutenant Larkin comes to Lecky. He orders him to do the duty of a cleaner in the mess. He was actually annoyed because someone had stolen a Jap's pistol from his tent. It was no other than Lecky who asked for it before but Larkin denied it. After some time, in May 1944, they all went to Peleliu Island. Lecky writes a letter to Vera again. Runner asks him to read the letter. He was having malaria in that new place. They all talk about the rats on this island and the diseases. After some time, York comes to wake Lecky up. But he sees he was having enuresis. They call the doctor there and he refers him to a hospital on another island. The next moment, he was in the hospital for his treatment of the urine problem. He was sitting in the hospital cafeteria and eating some clean food there. He asks in charge of the hospital Dr. Grant about the patients there. He tells him a brief history of the military patients there. At night, he sees a patient fighting with the doctor. He helps the doctor to get control of him. The doctors take him to the lockers. There he sees one of his battalion men, Gibson. He asks the doctor about him. And he tells him that he is sick and tries to kill himself, that's why they have put him behind the door. The next day he meets the doctor and asks him to let him go. He gives his Jap pistol to him for doing that favor. The doctor agrees. He meets Gibson again and leaves the hospital. The 5th episode of the series starts at the airport, where John Barcelone and actress Virginia Gray were posing for the newspapers. Barcelone was famous back in the US. After a little while, Barcelone's brother comes to meet him in the hotel. He asks him about his struggles in Guadalcanal. He advises him to be brave and have dinner together. The series again shows the scenes of Peleliu Island in June 1944. The US reinforcement reaches there. Sledge, Robert Oswald, and Bill Lydon meet Snafu, DeLoe, and Corporal Bergen. Jay guides them to their tent on the island. Phillips found Eugene searching for something on the island. He goes to him and grabs him. Captain Haldane comes there and stops them. They tell him that they are old friends. After some time, a sergeant comes to them and orders them to go with Snafu. They go with him to clean the oil barrels. After that, they go to the firing line. Instructor Haney conducts their firing tests. At night, Sledge comes to Lecky's tent. They were in the same company as the 1st Battalion. They talk about churches and God, but Sledge leaves. In the next scene, Peleliu, in September 1944. Sledge along with other Marines gets there. Haldane takes his men to the beach in an intense fight. This island was the hub of the Japs. They had a hard time getting to the beach. In the next moment, Lecky and his team reach there. They keep firing on the Japs, diverting them. They land on the beach, survive the attack, and join their company in the forest. While on the other side, Snafu and Eugene Sledge reach the tank point of the Japs. They settle the mortars there to destroy the Japanese tanks. They emptied the rounds, but they could not. Another US tank comes and destroys the Japs' tank. After some time, they rest there for a while and get something to eat. Snafu gets up from his place and goes to the dead body of the Japs. He tears his mouth and pulls a gold tooth. Sledge was watching all of this and got shocked and nervous. In all of this fighting, night falls and the 5th episode ends here. So this was part 1 of the recap for the miniseries The Pacific. We will watch the second part soon here. Thanks for watching. Subscribe. Recap in minutes for more videos like this and help the channel grow.